out within 1 hour. Would take 1 hour, maybe less. And that's really what happened here. And it happened in Minneapolis also. Came in, it went for 9 days, and we came in. It ended almost from the minute we came in. But these governors don't want to call, the mayors don't want to call, and they have to call and they have to ask.
I want to bring in David Katz, who's the CEO of Global Security Group and a former federal agent. He joins us now live from New York. David, we really appreciate you being with us because you've got an interesting perspective to share and one that we not often hear about in this very polarized environment. Trump says that the city would have burned to the ground if he had not intervened. Kenosha's mayor is saying that the city remains peaceful and is focused on healing. What is your assessment of the security situation there? And is there a role for federal law enforcement to play in cities where we're seeing violence play out like this?
Sure. Well, thank you for having me. And you raised a lot of very good points. The first point is there a role for federal law enforcement in these cities to stop this violence? And the answer is absolutely yes. If you look at the locations where these incidents are transpiring, they all have a few things in common. Number one, they have Democrat control, whether it's the mayor and or city council, and most importantly, the prosecutor's office, the district attorney. What happens is there's an unfortunate incident. Now that jury is still out with respect to the shooting. I want to point out to your viewers that this man was armed allegedly, and there's a lot more to the story than the 3 seconds that most of the networks have been showing on the shooting. There will be an investigation, and it will come to fruition. So during this phase of the investigation, there is a lot of tension in the community that is exploited by individuals who come from outside the community, and you can prove that by the number of people arrested who are not from Kenosha. And we have indisputable documentation that basically the same cast of characters, well-funded, well-trained, is bouncing from hotspot to hotspot to foment a lot of these uprisings. So now we have a situation where we have, it's not protest, it's rioting, it's looting, it's arson, it's attacking, we have shootings, we have all sorts of mayhem. And we know by past experience that the local prosecutor is not going to take these cases and bring anything forward as far as the criminal justice system is concerned. And the mayors, unfortunately, have more in common politically with the rioters than with the president, which is outrageous. The first and most important function of government is public safety, safeguarding the lives and property of the individuals in your jurisdiction, and that's not being done. And it can be done with federal law enforcement.
So what is going wrong, David, in cities like Portland? How do you strike that balance between allowing these protests, certainly to heed calls for injustice, but also maintaining civility?
Very, very simple. Everyone in this country has the right to express their opinions. And whether I agree or disagree, I will fight vehemently to support that right. Where you lose me, the first rock you throw, the first match you light. That's where your right to make your voice heard ends. So simply what must be done is, once those lines are crossed, there must be whoever's doing it gets arrested, and right beyond that, they get prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law, and that is not being done. The most horrific crimes are being overlooked by the mayors and the offices of the district attorney in all these cities, and that's the problem. That's why these things are going on and on with no end in sight.
David, that brings me to my next question, which is, how difficult is it to operate under law enforcement right now, given this very, very tense political climate? And what is morale like for these guys that are on the front lines of this?
That's the question of the day, isn't it? I can give you a bunch of personal experiences I've had. A lot of friends of mine are still I'm former law enforcement, but a lot of my friends are currently active. New York City, I have a number of friends who are in the NYPD. They can't do anything. There's no bail in New York City. You commit a crime, felony, you go before the judge, you're back out. You have to be extremely careful while you're arresting somebody, because if, God forbid, you happen to get your arm around their neck or press on their chest, guess what happens? You get arrested. You, the police officer, gets. Please explain to me how you can restrain a combative individual who is resisting arrest to the utmost of their ability without using force. A lot of times law enforcement gets ugly, and it's unfortunate, but that's the fact. And a lot of the officers are like, why am I doing this? They want to do their job. They want to help the communities that they serve. But they're now sometimes taking a step back, thinking, my gosh, if I do this, I'm going to go to jail. And that's where morale's getting killed. And that's why, if you look at the crime rate in New York City and other places, it is skyrocketing. Shootings, homicides, violent assaults, they all through the roof. Why? Because the police are being shackled.
All right. David Katz, we really appreciate you coming on to give us your perspective. Thanks so much for that.